Hello? Hello. If you're watching this video, I offer a fair warning that this entire presentation is rather boring and uninteresting. However, yeah, that's all I got. Okay, originally when creating my own app, I had this cool idea to make a memory game with increasing difficulties. However, due to the limitations of App Inventor, I had to give up on my aspirations and start development on a different game. I then thought about making an endless runner using a pre-rendered course or something. So, I created a small course to test out this concept. My plan was to have the course pan across the screen while the player moved a ball to avoid certain objects. Things were going well until they weren't. This didn't work out as planned, so I buried my second project. With tedious brainstorming, a third and final idea was born. As before, I planned for this new app to be an endless runner. However, this time, a log would roll, or fall. Whatever that is. Glide across the screen. The goal for the player is to guide a ball away from the gliding log. The longer the player avoids the log, the faster it falls. You get the idea. Here is my code. This is the code that allows my app to entertain you for a few seconds until it's no longer interesting. Most of the code carries out basic functions like resetting the log and ball each time the game begins. It also allows the player to move the ball as well as make the log fall from random places. Here are a few more of the important blocks of code. A very important part of the game is the score. If you look at the procedure labeled update score, you'll see that this function sets the score to be updated. The score is labeled as meters, so this function allows the app to change the text to meter when the score equals 1. That way there's something like, hey, look at me. I got 1 meters. This next block of code is more for the aesthetics of the app. When the screen is initialized and the player begins the game, the ball that the user controls is colored black. When the ball makes contact with the log, the number of lives the player has is decreased by 1. Because of the code, the ball will change color based on how many lives the user has. When the player has 1 life left, the ball turns a bright red color. This code also applies when the player gets an extra life, for the ball can return to its natural color if enough lives are collected. When the number of lives reach 0, the game stops. I would go into more detail about how special everything is, but that would be very boring. Almost as boring as playing the actual game itself, so instead, we're going to play the actual game itself. Alright, here we have the main menu. I kept things creative and clever when giving this app a title, which you can see is dodge the log. Anyways, we're going to press play, and this is where the magic happens. Immediately, you can see the log begin to fall with a buttery smooth frame rate. The ball moves where the player's finger is. If you notice right there, when the log hit the ball changes color. This is how you lose a life. Along the top shows the distance and how many lives the player has, which, since we made contact with the ball, there are 2 lives left. It also shows the high score. We got hit another time, so the ball turned a lighter shade of red, which means the player has 1 life left. Occasionally, a little green ball will appear randomly for a short period of time. Making contact with this little green ball will give the player an extra life. While you can't really see it right now, if the player has a score higher than 25, the log will slow down temporarily if hit to allow the player to recover. You can see that once the ball has been hit 3 times, the game stops. When I click try again, the high score is still saved. However, I don't really want to play this game again, so I'm just going to end my life. That's enough of that. Anyway, this app is fully functional, and as I said before, my app uses a TinyDB database to store the high score. This allows the high score to be saved even after the app is closed. If you want, you can download this lame game on the Google Play Store for $5. Just kidding, it's $1. Just kidding, it's free, because who would pay $1 for this piece of garbage? Just kidding. It's not on the Play Store, so you can't play it. That's all I got.